Hello and welcome to Nature Days Outdoor Learning Resources, sponsored by the Gower Society. Today's challenge is to make ice lanterns, and as it's Valentine's Day this Sunday, we're going to make them with that theme in mind. So we're going to take some of this cold weather, we're going to turn it into a beautiful lantern that you can then leave outside to decorate. So this is what you will need. To make your ice lantern, you will need 2 containers that sit neatly inside each other. Not too far apart, so this one might be a bit too thick because inside here is where the ice is going to form. So you really want that to be about 1 centimetre, so this one's a bit better. Now use plastic containers just in case, because if you use glass they will crack because the ice will expand. Or you can use 2 tin cans, a big one and a smaller one that sits inside. Now, you do need your containers to try and be straight-sided, not tapering in, and they need to be the same for both of them. You will also need some materials, so leaves or seeds or fruits, anything you can find outside. You'll need some water, some tape, and I've actually got a hole punch here. Because it's Valentine's Day this Sunday, I'm going to make a Valentine's Day ice lantern, so I'm going to use this hole punch to cut out some shapes in my leaves. But you could just use scissors, or you could just use any shape and just rip them. So first of all, I'm going to make the decorations to go inside. So you need to collect leaves. I've got some leaves and I'm going to turn these into hearts. But you could make anything you like, just collect any leaves, any foliage. You can also use berries. Just make sure that they're not too big so they won't fit in between your 2 containers. So I'm going to make up some of these into heart shapes. So now I've used my hole punch to punch out some lovely heart-shaped confetti out of my leaves. And these I'm going to use in my lantern. But you can just rip up bits of shredded bits of leaves, or you can use berries. So I'm going to take my container, my bigger one, place my smaller one inside it. I'm going to place some of these inside the gap in between. So you can see that I've filled up in between the 2 with my leaves. I'm also going to do the same with my other container. I'm going to put some berries in between here and the 2 containers as well. So in between here, I'm going to place my berries. And maybe a few pieces of leaves as well. Next, I'm going to fill up the container with water. Now we might find that when the water goes in that this container starts to rise up, so we might have to put in some stones to keep it sinking. So here goes my water, and hopefully all my leaves will start to float up. There we go. So we need to make sure that container is going to stay down. I'm going to fill it up all the way until it's just a little bit, about an inch or a few centimetres away from the top of the outer container. Now this container is going to float, so I need to put some stones on it to keep it in place. If your water gets too high, it's going to spill out the top. Just empty it. Make sure you've got a gap. So once your containers are full of water and you've filled up your inside container so that it's sinking full of stones, then all you have to do is wait for it to freeze. So if it's a cold day or going to be a cold night, leave it outside and then it will freeze, or if you've got room, put it into your freezer. Now you can use the tape to actually tape these to make sure they stay central. So if they're moving sideways, you may want to tape it in place so that it stays in the center. Otherwise, you're going to have one very thin side to your lantern and it might break. So that's what the tape is for. Once you've got your tape in place and your stones to keep your central container in, you just leave it to freeze overnight. So it's the next morning and we have ice formed in our lanterns. So I'm going to try and take them out to see whether it's worked. To take your lanterns out of the mould, you need some warm water. Place your mould into your hot water. That should melt the lower bit, the bottom bit, and then you should be able to pull it out. So we don't want it to melt completely, of course, just enough so that we can take the mould out. So we need to just melt the sides, the first layer of ice. There we go. Well, I hope you have a bit more luck with your ice lantern than I did. Now, what went wrong with mine, I'm pretty sure, is the distance between the two containers for one of them was too big. So it was about 1.5 centimetres. That's too big. So it didn't have enough time to freeze because it needed to get to really low temperatures. And although last night it was like -6, it just was too thick. So maybe I left it out for a few more nights, it might have frozen. The other one was too thin and it broke as I took out the container. So what I recommend, learn from my mistakes, use tin cans because that's going to allow the coldness to go through the material. Also, I use plastic, which is an insulator that will stop the coldness going through it. So I'm going to try it again tonight with tin cans. So if you do have a go and have more success than I do with your lanterns, you could put a little tea light inside it and light it and leave it outside if it's not too windy, and it should look beautiful when the sun goes down. Make sure you don't leave any lights on inside the house unattended or any candles. And if you do have success, then please do tweet them because I'd love to see one working that you actually did. So please tweet #NatureDays or put them on the Facebook page. And that is the last outdoor learning resource activity challenge that we're going to do for this half term. So please, next half term, make sure you have a nice rest. But do get out in nature as well. Try and explore. And if you want to look back on any of the videos that we've got, have a look and please do enjoy. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and like any of the videos that you do. And then next term, if we're back in lockdown and you're not all in school, then we might continue with our outdoor learning Nature Days challenges. So have a lovely half term and have a rest.